Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ranking Member Balderson, it's great to be here. Mr. Manger, thanks for being here again. As a small business owner for over 35 years and the ranking member of the Small Business Committee on Economic Growth, Tax, and Capital Access, I understand the need for businesses to obtain the adequate funding to support their operations, especially during these unprecedented times. One way in which we have been able to provide funding is through the PPP. Through this program, the SBA worked quickly to provide aid to businesses across the country, and I appreciate your efforts in this speedy implementation. Remind us all, the PPP program saved approximately 51 million American jobs. We know now that that may be even higher than that. At the same time, our bankers across the country played a crucial role in the PPP implementation, putting in countless hours to provide local business owners with loans. Without the hard work of our banking industry, the PPP would not have been a success, as we've seen today, and I commend them for their efforts. However, the urgency to roll out PPP also caused the SBA to overlook certain obstacles for lenders, such as the outdated loan processing system known as E-Tran. Unfortunately, this system could not sustain the incredible influx of PPP loans applications, and which caused burdensome tech-related issues for our many lenders who are working overtime to help borrowers obtain funding. As the founder of a small community bank, I understand how these obstacles can impact lending productivity. This was a waste of viable business hours, and we must do better to help our lenders navigate the PPP-related portals. Additionally, we need to provide more comprehensive guidance to explain how certain processes work, especially with loan forgiveness for both borrowers and lenders. Right now, there is an ambiguity and a confusion surrounding loan forgiveness, which has caused banks to advocate for automatic forgiveness for certain thresholds in order to mitigate the lack of clarity about this process. I, for one, are concerned about automatic forgiveness without oversight. I think there's a responsibility of this committee and all of us in Congress has to have oversight to make sure there's no fraud. So we have to get this figured out sooner rather than later. Currently, many lenders are left in the dark on how loan forgiveness will be rolled out, both on the technology side and the policy side, which brings me to my first question. When the PPP was first rolled out, new interim final rules were frequently posted on the SBA's website. This created confusion for both borrowers and lenders since rules were constantly changing. Because of this, we advocated for SBA to release a comprehensive guide. Well, I'm sorry, we advocate for you to do this on the PPP to create transparency and help individuals navigate the program. And so my question is, does the SBA have any plans to provide a comprehensive guide to help lenders navigate the loan forgiveness program process, including the new online portal?
Congressman, we can certainly take a look at that. What we've done specifically related to forgiveness is we released 3 IFRs and, again, detailed FAQs. I believe there were 30 in all that specifically addressed the loan forgiveness process. And we did that because, again, they're frequently asked questions, so we wanted to try and capture what, again, the borrower and the lender really needed to understand the forgiveness process. So we've done that thus far, and we are obviously trying to do more, and we can certainly take a look at a document such as you've just expressed here. But at this point, again, we believe the IFRs and the FAQs and the forms and our outreach that we've been conducting has been very, very helpful. And certainly we can always do more, but we can take a look at anything else you'd like us to.
Well, I think in talking to many bankers, certainly across my district and the state, their concern is not knowing the rules until after they're required to do something. As an example, we relied heavily, almost exclusively, on our community banks, certainly touch all of our small businesses across America, in addition to our big lenders. But what we also know is they had to use their own loan documents, which required, at that time, a 6-month deferral until the first payment, which are coming due. And now they have loan forgiveness documents says it's not until 10 months after the SBA gives guidance on forgiveness. So they have to go back and touch all of their documents now to either put an addendum, because if they don't, they're out of compliance with the Office of the Comptroller of the Currency or the other state and federal regulators, which is creating a real burden and a financial cost to them that there is no additional fees for, or there are none. And so this is important for the banks to be able to touch these documents one time so that we can alert our borrowers to if there's going to be any forgiveness at all, but we need to do this as a respect to the people that we put the burden on to go loan this money to the individual businesses so that they could keep the 51 million Americans employed. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back, and thank you so much for having this hearing. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really appreciate those comments you made there, too, because as we're all hearing from our businesses, it's about simplicity and in the time of trying to figure out how to keep people employed. Mr. Menger, currently under the PPP, if a change of borrower occurs, it's an automatic default unless the borrower obtains a written waiver from the lender. As you know, the 7A program requires lenders to get SBA consent for a borrower change of control. And for all these, and if you're selling a business or a transition of ownership, we have an issue here that we need to get clarified and maybe bring some consistency between the two programs. Because of some pre-existing 7A rules applied to the PPP, as long as they are consistent, will PPP borrowers need to get SBA consent for a change of borrower?
So, Congressman, I appreciate that question very much. And in fact, I was on the phone last night with one of my colleagues discussing just that. I've actually been on a phone call with Congressman Balderson, where he also asked the question about change of ownership for businesses that currently have a PPP loan. We are working through that, and we are coming up with something I think that will make it much easier, again, for a business with a PPP loan to be able to have a change of ownership. So we are very near completion on that as we speak. As I said, I was on the phone last night discussing that with one of my colleagues.
Have you thought through the process, or additionally, and I'll go back to what the chairman said, communication is paramount here. It's critical. Have you thought about how you would communicate to both lenders and borrowers this change or this consistency?
We will certainly work through our Office of Communications and Public Liaison. We will certainly reach out to the banking trade associations, and we will again try to get out the information on our website and all the other means possible to make sure that they are aware of how they can make a change of ownership.
Mr. Menger, I want you to know from me personally, as a small business owner for years, that we appreciate, and whether you're Democrat or Republican on this committee, we've heard from borrowers all over this country, and they appreciate it. And while there's been a lot of uncertainty in how the process works, they appreciate this program has saved thousands, hundreds of thousands of mom-and-pop businesses that may have been handed down by generations, people who took the risks, borrowed capital, started a business that without this program would have gone bankrupt, and many still will. Just because of the demand for their product. And without the SBA utilizing the banking system, other financial systems to get these monies out, this could have been a catastrophic event. It was already catastrophic enough for our economy, but because of what you did, you allowed the people to keep all of our Americans, for the most part, employed where you could, and we greatly appreciate all the work for you and your teams. Consistently coming over here. We want to make sure that message gets back to Administrator Carranza, as well as Secretary Mnuchin. He's been here, and you guys have been very open to coming and testifying before us, and we greatly appreciate you taking our questions and going back to work fervently on solutions. So thank you so much for being here.